Hello everyone, welcome back to Chatting with CJ, episode 10. Thank you for tuning in. We missed last week, but we appreciate you watching and subscribing. Please like, share, subscribe, and watch us on YouTube at Chatting with CJ Podcast and on Instagram at Chatting with CJ. Hello, CJ. How are you feeling?
Hello, everybody. Hi, Jamal. I'm feeling good.
Excellent, Mom. Sit back, relax. You all good? Yep. Smile. Yes, absolutely. So, you say you're feeling good. You had on discussion what you want to talk about. So, without further ado, Mom, you have the floor.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about, Langston Hughes wrote that poem, A Dream Deferred. I'm not wanting to talk about his poem, but I do want to use his poem as the subject. What happens to us when we defer our dream? What happens to a dream that is deferred? I've given that some thought this week because I have deferred some of my goals and my dreams, and what I've discovered is that if I defer them, sometimes they lose the momentum and they just fade away. I don't want my dreams and what I want to do to fade away. I want it to become my reality because it's important to me. And I don't know how many of the people that I'm talking to or who watch the podcast may have experienced or feeling the same way, but it happens and it comes upon us. It comes upon me very quickly. It could just be a thought, well, I don't want to do this week, or I'm not going to do that, or I'm going to wait until this, or I'm going to wait until that, then I'll do it. And before I know it, it's the feelings that I have to make the accomplishment dwindle and things fade. Example being, I wanted to be a licensed professional counselor, and I went and I took all of the courses to become a licensed professional counselor. What happened was, when I took my work to Xerox it to what's the name of the place where
FedEx.
Yeah, everything got discombobulated, and I got upset. I took it, I just put everything together, came home and put it in the closet, and that's where it stayed. And then I decided, that wasn't what I really wanted to be, a licensed professional counselor. That I really wanted to be a life coach. So I signed up to take
But let's back up for a second. So give them a time frame on a licensed professional counselor. Around what time was that?
Oh, that was around 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, 2011.
And when did you finally say that you don't want to do that anymore?
Well, my mom had died, and I put a lot of effort into completing the program. And then one day it was like I just got so overwhelmed, and I said, after I took everything to Xerox it, to send it to the state board, and it just got discombobulated. I was just very much overwhelmed,
right?
And I just took everything and put it away, and I said, this is not what I want to do.
Right.
I don't want to become a licensed professional counselor. And time passed, and I said, I know what I want to do. I do want to become a life coach.
Right.
I do want to become a life coach.
Yes.
And I have signed up to take courses to get my certificate so that I could become a life coach. So what happens is, the dream deferred, sometimes it loses its momentum. And and like I said, it gets put on a shelf. But this I will do. I will get my certification to become a life coach. because that's what I want to do.
So when did you start that process? Because I remember you taking some courses. So when did you start that?
I started that process about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's online.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't complete the courses that I was supposed to complete in the program. Then I had my aneurysm, and then things got really put on hold.
So what have you learned doing this? Because this has really been what you've been talking about regarding the positive and negatives regarding a deferred dream. What have you learned from this whole process?
I've learned that you have to be true to yourself. If you're not true to yourself, you're not true to anything. Mm-hmm. And it's like, to thine own self be true. It's so true. Mm-hmm. To thine own self be true. Is this what I want to do? Mm-hmm. I really want to do it. I have a person who's going to assist me with getting it done. I have to create the program for myself, mm-hmm. so that I can go before this person and say, here it is. This is what I want to do. Are you still willing to help me to make this dream a reality?
So let's take it this way, Mom. What has changed before the aneurysm and after aneurysm? What have you recognized?
That I have to be more serious. That time doesn't wait for anybody. Time does not wait for you. It continues to move forward. And I can keep making excuses, and I can keep finding things to do, to not do what I should do. But it only affects me. To thine own self be true is so profound and so real. Mm-hmm. Now, I can say, because I could be honest, I get sad sometimes, not that I'm trying to make excuses, but being home is different. I'm so used to most of my life going and doing things, and so being in a house, being home is different for me because I'm not used to it, and I have had to make the adjustment that being home, I don't like watching TV during the day. I like to read. So to me, it's like being home during the day. It's home not productive. Is not productive.
So, like I said, it's a silver lining and everything. Mm-hmm. Like you being able to really touch in on some emotions that you may have been busy to touch on, and really gain a perspective on some things, like of truly what you want to do.
Yes.
Truly what you don't want to do. Truly what brings you happiness. And I think, like, we listened to something last week about, when you're planning, what changed human civilization from being a civilization or a people that just traveled around and moved, and then being able to actually be in one location. It was the recognizing that there's seasons, and there's a time to plant, and there's a time to harvest. And I think you're given the time now to plant, and then you're going to have your harvest, and the harvest is going to come when soon.
Yes.
So
if you're not true to yourself, mm-hmm. you can't be true to nothing. Mm-mm. And like for me, wanting to be a professional counselor, it was something that I wanted to do, but then I didn't want to do it, and I wasn't being true to myself. I want to be true to me. That's the only person I could be true to, mm-hmm. is being true to myself, and and when you're true to yourself, then you do what you say you're gonna do.
So what feelings have you come across and not when you're not true to yourself? And
a sadness.
Right.
I could say somewhat of a depression. Mm-hmm. Making excuses for not doing. Mm-hmm.
Do you think you're misleading people when they ask you if you want to do something, and you really know in your heart of hearts that you're not? And
I'm misleading them, but I'm misleading myself most of all.
Right.
Because people, when you gonna get your license, Cynthia? blah, 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 blah. And you can't run. I can't run from me.
Right.
You know?
But see, again, that's the thing you're touch on with this time you've had to yourself. Really.
Right.
It's touching on a bunch of different emotions. Like some of the things we go through in life, like things I go through in life, it's a silver lining in it because you recognize that there's an emotion there, whether you like it or you don't like it, and how can I keep from feeling this way? So I think you're coming into that because you can't run from yourself.
Right.
You're here with yourself.
Right. And it's so natural for me to really want to help somebody, to help themselves.
Yeah, I see that.
Right. But I have to help me to help me to be able to help somebody else. You know? So I'm making this commitment to myself.
And to your viewers.
And my viewers.
You're putting it out there in the universe. And in my travels, I came across someone I think is going to be very helpful for you. And you're going to reach out to them. But I think when you put it out there in the universe and you really want it,
yes.
the universe makes a way for you. So what else is on your mind? Anything regarding that?
Well, that's being true to myself.
Uh-huh.
You know, like making some accomplishments. To feel good.
Yeah.
You know, to feel really good because there's been how can I say it? I don't want to say a sadness, but there's been a part of me that's been missing.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
how long?
Since I had the aneurysm.
Oh wow, okay.
You know, it changed. Life sort of changed when I was in the hospital and I was like in the room by myself most of the time. I had to, you know, like there were things to do, but most of the time it was like I was in that room. I was by myself.
Yeah, you really had time to think.
Yeah.
I really had time to think. So let's flip it, Mom. What's happening tomorrow?
I finished this week.
Tell people.
This week I finished my physical and my occupational therapy.
So you've been accomplishing things. You've just not been studying.
No, I've been.
What else will happen this past week? On Tuesday.
This Tuesday?
Past Tuesday. Where did I take you? Which you haven't been to in a while.
Where'd you take me?
It rhymes with house.
House?
Marion House.
Oh!
Yeah, talk about that, Mom.
I started doing a group
at Marion House.
At Marion House.
Again.
Back at Marion House.
Since your aneurysm. So
yes, that's my first time back.
Since May.
Yeah, I started doing a group with the women.
Right. So that's what I'm saying is steps. You can't really. You're going through it. You're going through the process, going through the emotions.
Right.
But it's like you're accomplishing things and checking boxes, and at the same time you're dealing with emotions because you have more time. Because I remember before the aneurysm, you always was constantly having to stay there late because you had paperwork to catch up with. You had a bunch of stuff to do. You had this, that, the other. Now you have time to really delve into your psyche or what you want to do, you know. And sometimes people don't like dealing with that. It happened during COVID. We can talk about COVID. People had children. People had anxiety, depression, because they were disconnected from their social circles.
Right.
We were forced to isolate. I remember you saying, like with Nanny, you glad that she wasn't here for COVID because she's a social person.
That's my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, she transitioned before COVID came. She transitioned before COVID came. And my mom, I mean, it would have been devastating for her because she's not a person who stays in a house. She's always on the go.
Yeah.
And she would have been home all by herself, you know, during COVID. So she transitioned in 2012.
Right.
You know, so.
So reason I'm saying is it's like the emotions and this is why it's good that we talk about this. Because at least you're recognizing your dream deferred and you have a chance to accomplish that dream. Like with the life coach, you have a chance. Some people never reach that. It's always in the background, like I coulda, shoulda, woulda. Like I hear that a lot.
And right now it's like, like having an aneurysm, it was like an injury to my brain.
It was. Yeah.
And things are coming back. I told Jamal, and it was funny because going back doing a group, I have to do certain tasks that I'm not used to doing, and they've been very helpful to me with me doing them. And one of the ladies that I'm working with, she said, well, what's your password? I couldn't remember it. So she gave me a new password, and then that week my password came to password that
You remember.
I remembered it, and I'm like, wow, things are coming back.
Yeah.
Because I'm resting.
Right.
I'm resting, and I don't get caught up when I can't remember something. I don't get upset. I don't get caught up. I'll say it will come to me. I can't answer that right now, but it will come to me, and it does come to me. You not
only been resting, you become a voracious reader. You read. It's like those are mental exercises. The rest, the importance of the rest, your circadian cycle. Then you're reading. You're strengthening. In the physical and occupational therapy, you're strengthening your outside, and you're reading, you're resting, and strengthening your mind so that you're ready for these next challenges.
It's so important to get rest. As I said before, I didn't know how to rest because I was always trying to do something. So when I got sick and I had to I had to practice and learn how to rest, like I said, I would wake up and I would be awake in the hospital about 7:30, blah, 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 waiting for the physical therapist or the occupational therapist to come so that I could start my day. Well, this was like 7:30. They didn't come until like 9:30. So it was like I had all of this time. But I had to learn how to rest.
So here's a silver lining in that, Mom, because you didn't see it. I'm going to tell you a different perspective. You wanted your independence. You fought for it. You were up and ready to get started on your day. It was some people I saw in there that didn't get out of bed. They did not get out of bed. They were there when you arrived, and they were still in the bed when you left. So part of you getting up, like you did, was a good thing. Like you were ready. When we first got there, you could barely move on the wheelchair, and towards the end, we could do something you had saw this lady that was walking. You said, I want to be able to walk like that. You accomplished all of those tasks.
Yeah, I did.
So, yeah.
And I don't give myself credit.
You don't, and you have to.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here to kind of put things in perspective.
Right.
Because we can be our harshest critic, but we cannot be our worst enemy. And you have to give yourself perspective, because if you don't, and you give yourself, I did good today. I
know there was one of the physical therapists. She was a inpatient when I was an inpatient, and I may have talked about her before. I did, because I say I called her the pit bull. So I do outpatient therapy now, but when I went, I asked my occupational therapist if we could be in touch with the lady that had done my physical therapy while I was inpatient, and she knew her. Anyway, she connected us, and she came to see me a couple weeks ago, and she was really surprised and amazed of my accomplishments. And I said, I called her the pit bull because she was no nonsense. It's like if you saw Jamie Foxx's Netflix on when he talks about his aneurysm, she was like the person that Jamie Foxx had. There was no nonsense, and by her being no nonsense, it helped me to get better sooner.
Yeah, you locked in.
I locked in because she was no nonsense. I had a pair. I think I needed to put on a pair of tennis.
You can have a pair of tennis, and they had a extra pair of tennis, and you were complaining that it hurt your foot, but really you didn't want to put your foot in there. I mean, you had been out of shoes for quite some time, and your feet had swelled up a little bit. But those shoes, she needed you to put in those shoes so you can get up and walk.
And she kept saying to me, when she said, "Put your foot in the shoe," and I said, "The shoe, I can't.
Too tight, yeah.
It's too tight. I can't get my foot in." Only thing she would say was push.
Keep pushing.
She just said push, and I'm like, I cannot get my foot in this shoe. She said push.
So to bring it back full circle.
I got my foot in the shoe.
Yep. And you stood up, and now we're here. So, in 20 minutes in, Mom.
Oh, 20 minutes
20 minutes in. So, you have accomplished things. You recognized, with this time, you've been able to recognize the topic of the day, a deferred dream, right?
Right.
You recognize that you have some goals that you want to attain. You recognize that you've had some time that you had to yourself that was unusual to you because you've always been on the go, but during that time it has been anxiousness with it.
Yes.
But you recognize that you're on upwards, and this is your time. You have momentum. Right. The wind is in your back, and you're going to do great things.
Yes.
Now, so talk to the folks and tell them. 21 minutes in.
21 minutes in. The time passes pretty fast. That's how life is.
Yeah.
Life passes us really quickly, and before you know it, it's gone. So I'm making this commitment to myself. And it's sometimes you feel hollow on the inside, but it doesn't matter. To thine own self be true. I will get my life coach certification, and I'm like, thanks for listening to me. It helps me to be able to talk to you, to be able to talk about it, and the time passes very quickly. 20 minutes, we probably 22 minutes into it now, but thank you so much for listening to me and allowing me into your space.
So with that, we want to thank you for tuning in to Chatting with CJ. Today's guest, again, is episode 10, a great episode 10 we had. We want to say God bless you.
God bless you. And your family.
Absolutely. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.